When John and Elizabeth Dobbin arrived in Westbank, they settled in the Shannon Lake area in the year 1905. At this time, there was only horse and buggy, dirt roads, and not even running water. There was a small school and post office, though, and a few neighbors living around, whom the Dobbins visited occasionally and sang songs together, which included the Galatleys, who visited the Dobbin family traveling by horse and buggy in the year 1914. John Dobbin had died at the age of 83 in 1916. In order to supplement the income from the farm, Francis Arthur Dobbin, also called Art throughout his life, the son of John and Elizabeth Dobbin, had taken up logging. At this time, he was 23 years old. With Art's logging experience, by the time the First World War had began, Art enlisted in the war and was stationed in the north of England to be in charge of a sawmill which produced lumber that was sent to Vimy in France. Art had met his future wife Florence Barclay while stationed in England, in the village of Glanton. They married on December 26, 1917. She was 21 and he was 35. While stationed in England, their first son Clifford was born in 1918. When the war ended in 1919, the married couple decided to travel to Canada to begin their new family life together. Florence unfortunately never saw her parents or sister again. After arriving, Art resumed his logging career, buying out acreage in the Shannon Lake area, building a barn there around the year 1920. Within a few short years, Art had established a running sawmill, and the lumber produced at his sawmill had later been used to make many houses in the Westbank area at that time, laying the foundations for an expanding and thriving community. His lumber was used to make such structures as the Westbank Community Hall and the Westbank Wharf. By around 1923, Art expanded and bought the rest of the Dobbin farm, which was over 300 acres. As the years followed, Art and Florence continued to have more children, with Olive being the second, followed by Florence, Frank, Mary, Doreen, Lorne, and Pamela. Unfortunately, in the mid-1920s, great tragedy struck their family with an accidental fire, and their son Frank had passed away. At this time, Mary, the sister to Art, had arrived from Calgary, followed later by their brother John. Mary had eventually established the second general store in the Westbank area, known as the M.J. Dobbin General Store. By 1945, with Art continuing on farming and logging for many years, decided a new venture, construction. So he purchased his first bulldozer, and 3 years later was accompanied by a second, larger bulldozer and a scraper. The Dobbin family's equipment had provided many projects in their lifespan, such as logging roads, highway construction between Westbank and the ferry dock, construction on the south end of Bear Lake Dam, land clearing for many farms in the Westbank area, and construction work on the Rock Creek-Bridesville Highway, and many, many more. Francis Arthur Dobbin had died on January 27, 1960, his wife following him many years later on September 12, 1988, being a widow for 28 years. Subsequent to Art's passing, the logging venture was continued by his sons, with Lorne being the president and manager, and later in 1962, Clifford joined to assist with management. An affiliate company was formed known as the Dobbin Bros Logging Limited. At peak times between the two companies, they had 30 to 40 staff working for them. Some of the projects undertaken by these two companies included construction on the road and first ski runs at Last Mountain for Alan McLeod, also the work on preliminary clearing and construction for the famous Brenda Mine site. The work and expenditure of the Westbank area accomplished by the Dobbin family is no better described as stunning. Through the Dobbins' hard work, they essentially became pioneers for expanding the Westbank area. There is a major road that runs through the Westbank area leading to Highway 97, named after the Dobbin family.